Hello friends, we at ST Online Campus are solving an important topic in GATE and NET called attribute closure. So we will see first what is attribute closure. An attribute closure of A tells what are the attributes which can be determined from A. That means attribute determined from A. Okay, for example, we have a table student and we have student ID, student name, student state and student country. Okay, and we have FD set. FD set is set of FDs. So we have in FD set we have student ID is determining student name and student ID is determining student state and student state is determining student country. Okay, these are the FD set. So if we want to find out the attribute closure, for example, I want to find out the attribute closure of student ID. Okay, it will be first we will add that attribute. That means student ID will be added because from student ID I can obviously determine student ID. It is an example of trivial FD. Because of trivial FD, I can determine student ID from student ID. So student ID will be added. Now we will see what all other attributes can be added. Like from student ID, I can determine student name. So I will add student name as well. Okay. From student ID, I can determine student state. So I will add student state as well. From student state, I can determine student country. So I will add student country as well. That means from student ID, I can determine student ID, student name, student state and student country. So this is the attribute closure of student ID. So if we see the attribute closure of student name, how I will check? I will add student name because of trivial FD. From student name, I cannot determine any other attribute because student name is not on left hand side of any FD. So attribute of student name will be, attribute closure of student name will be student name only. If I see attribute closure of student state, okay. So attribute closure of student state will be, first I will add student state only. Then from student state, I can determine student country. So I will add student country as well. So this is the attribute closure of student state. So we will be given FD set. Okay, from these FD set, I can determine attribute closure of any attribute or set of attribute. We will take another example. Suppose I have a relation R with A, B, C, D attributes and FD set is given as A is giving BC, C is giving D, D is giving A and A is giving D, suppose. These are the FDs. So if I want to find out the attribute closure of A closure will be, first A will be added. From A I can determine BC, BC will be added. From A I can determine D, so D will be added. So attribute closure of A is ABCD. Attribute closure of B will be, first B will be added. From B I cannot determine any other attribute, so it is B only. From C I can determine C and D as well. From D, I can determine A. From A, I can determine B. C is already there. So attribute closure of C is CDAB. That means ABCD. Attribute closure of D is, from D, I can determine A. From A, I can determine BC. This means this is the attribute closure. I can also determine attribute closure of BC as well. Attribute closure of BC will be, first B will be added, C will be added. From C I can determine D, from D I can determine A. So BC attribute closure will be B, C, D, A. We will take one more example. We have R, A, B, C, D, E. And we have functional dependencies are BC is determining DE, BC is determining A. So if I want to find the attribute closure of B, it will be B only, because from B we cannot determine any other attribute. If we want to find the attribute closure of C, it will be C only, because from C I cannot determine any other attribute. But if we want to find the attribute closure of BC, it will be B, C. From B and C I can determine DE. From B and C I can determine A. So attribute closure of BC will be B, C, D, E, A. So that means B closure union C closure is not equal to BC closure. But B closure union C closure, the whole closure is equal to BC closure, because B closure is B, C closure is C, BC ka whole closure is equals to BC ka whole closure. So this is the relationship between attribute closure. Thank you.